Hello everyone, MFPallytime here. Welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. It's been a while since I've streamed on my own channel, but I hope you guys are having a good time. Hope you guys are having a great day. Gonna be streaming on my channel more starting next week. Gonna be in Ohio for a week, so we're probably gonna be playing some more Hero League. Streaming some other games too, but getting back into it. On the PTR today, we have a new character. His name is Probius. He is a Protoss probe. Yeah, that rolls off the tongue. I'm really confused by him. He is not a very straightforward character, at least in my eyes. I'm not too sure what his purpose actually is. I have played one game with him, and I had a disconnect, so it was barely a game. But, you know, this is going to be my long, boring, drawn-out first look at the new character entering the Nexus. This is Probius. If you are not interested in hearing all of his talents one by one, very slowly, if you are not interested in the person talking right now getting just about everything wrong, or wasting about 45 minutes in the process of me doing it, that you have been warned, it is time for you to leave. Okay. We did it, team. We introed. We did it. So, I mentioned that I don't quite understand what he's supposed to do, because in the meta right now, it's all about engaging really hard, right? You get a Artanis swap or something, you get a good mosh pit, you move in and you try to deal as much damage as possible. But my very first impressions of the character was there was a lot of setup time going on here. Cause like, okay, let's not forget the most important thing, the dance. There you go, team. He also has a pretty cool recall animation. I think I canceled the dance, but, you know, whatever. We're going in. We're deep already. So, a lot of what Probius does is based off of the warp in Pylon. This is your trait on a 14-second cooldown. You're going to warp in a pylon that generates a power field and grants vision of the surrounding area. Probius only regenerates mana while inside of his power field. I tried playing without using these at all, without realizing that there was a mana thing tied to it. It makes a lot more sense now. So you can see we did a little bit of our combo stuff, and we drained our mana very quickly. Once we put a probe down, our mana will start to generate very, very fast. So essentially, while we're in here, we're going to be able to sustain our mana no problem. Now, these pylons do have a 14-second cooldown, and you can only have 2 of them active at a time. Now, before I looked into the character at all, I was only looking at the promotional material. I was really under the impression that I'd be putting down like pylons all over the place. I'd be able to warp to them. I'd be putting these turrets down. I'd be doing cannons. That's not the case at all. So I kind of let my imagination run wild a little bit too much, and I needed to scale back my expectations a little bit. But these 2 pylons last, from what I can tell, forever, until someone on the enemy team does move over and break these down. So this is your basis. Everywhere you go, you're making a base for you to stand around so you can continue to cast things without mana stipulations. Now, if the enemy team is moving away from you, so let's say, for instance, that your team is pushing in, because that's what teams do these days, you know, very aggressive pushes. You're like, wait a minute, hold on, everybody, I need to put my pylon down. No, you're still running, okay. All right, well, now I'm out of range of my turret. You know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Anyway, his mount ability just makes him move really fast. Activate to gain 60% movement speed for 5 seconds. Taking damage ends this effect early. So if he takes any damage at all, even from like a minion if he happens to walk by, this is going to be interrupted. This is a 5-second duration for 60% movement speed. Looks a lot like this. Really cute. Really cute, by the way. But with a 40-second cooldown. And his passive, they said it's because he doesn't touch the ground. He has a 10% movement speed increase over every other hero. At level 1, our health's looking pretty low. So we're definitely meant to like make our little base and then stay way far back and try to stay out of range of people. So keep that in mind as we're looking at this thing. His Q ability is the Disruption Pulse. You're going to fire a burst of energy forward, dealing 165 damage to all enemies it passes through. Hitting the center of a warp rift will cause it to explode, dealing additional damage. So the first part of this, quite simply, kind of like the Tychus Boomerang, you just send out a Q, it does damage. I believe this does pass through all targets, so we can go ahead and look on this minion wave here. Goes right through all of them, deals damage to every single target that it passes through. Pretty straightforward there. Pretty good too. I would say that's pretty good. His W ability, which also ties in with kind of his combo, is called the Warp Rift. Open an unstable Warp Rift at a location that takes 1.25 seconds to arm, which then slows nearby enemies by 20%, lasting 9 seconds. Now, the arming part is kind of interesting. So just by this being here, it doesn't do anything. It does have the 20% slow, and that thing will stay there for 9 seconds no matter what. So I guess you can kind of prevent enemy movement with these. But then if you use your Q and hit the center of your Warp Rifts, you can then detonate them to deal damage. Now you also get the damage of your Q passing through the target originally as well, so you can actually line up some pretty sizable damage if you're able to kind of keep someone in the center of that. Which, in my experience, has been kind of hard to do. Most people immediately just move out of these. They make gap close out of these, but at the same time, it does have a pretty low cooldown, so they can only do that so much. Again, my main complaint about this character in the very small time that I have been playing him is the fact that most people won't stand around and wait for you. So, again, let's go on to the next ability, and then I'll talk about that a little bit more. The Photon Cannon. You're going to warp in a photon cannon that deals 107 damage per second. It lasts for 11 seconds. Now, this must be placed inside of a pylon field. So it's just like StarCraft here. So we put our little pylon down, and it will shoot at nearby enemies. And of course, we can combo that with other stuff. It doesn't say anything about prioritizing heroes, and you cannot direct it to shoot anything. It shoots whatever it wants to shoot. So let's say that I'm playing very defensive over here, right? Let's say we know we want this pylon to be up all the time, so we'll put it behind the wall. Then there's 14 seconds before we can put another one down. Oh, Arthas is pushing in. All right, we'll put a turret down. Well, Arthas isn't quite in range of that. We can keep him back with that slow. Any normal player would have moved out of this slow by now, but since he's not a normal player, we can try to detonate it. So if, let's say Arthas decided to move away, we have really no chase potential to be found here. If we want to do our big combo, we actually have to be in front of him to kind of let this charge. Because if you shoot your Q into one that's not charged, you can see it doesn't blow up. It only blows up once your Warp Rift has actually been able to form in that location. And let's say that, well, we wanted to move up a little bit more and put down our next turret. Well, Arthas could just kill that turret. It's just like Gazlo. He can kill the cannon, or actually opt to just kill the pylon. So they actually have two options of ways that they can stop my cannon here from firing. And we can only have one cannon down at a time if we don't specifically talent for some other things. So just keep that in mind. It kind of seems like people running away from Probius is going to be pretty common, which is really funny considering how non-threatening he is, actually. But, like I said, I don't really know how I feel about his kit and how it fits into the game right now. He just kind of seems super defensive. Maybe on maps like on Brax's Holdout, he would do really well. Maybe Tomb of the Spider Queen, because there's not much moving required. The map's really small, so you can kind of set up your little area and then defend it really well. Maybe that would be, but you know, on Warhead Junction, I couldn't imagine playing Probius and like having a good time. I couldn't imagine playing him on. I guess Sky Temple wouldn't be that bad. I was gonna say Sky Temple, but he has enough time. He has enough warning with Sky Temple, especially if you can predict where the temples are gonna spawn, where he could set this up and be okay. It just seems like it's very niche, which I guess is why he's a specialist, right? I mean, I guess that makes sense. Anyway, that aside, let's go ahead and start taking a look at his talents. It seems like if you prefer one part of his playstyle here, then you can build for that playstyle. Again, I have not played him enough to know which of these playstyles I'm going to favor the most. But like, if you like turret talents, there's enough turret talents in here that you, or cannon, it's a cannon, it's not a turret. You could really start to boost up the power of that. If you like his W, there's a lot of talents that really emphasize that. There's a whole tier for his W at level 16, I believe. Yeah, 4 options. And if you just like laying down pylons, there's some options for that too. And just shooting at your Q normally, you could do that as a very short cooldown nuke. So it does appear it does appear that he has a few ways that he can be built, so that's good. At level 1, we have Echo Pulse. Disruption Pulse now returns to Probius with 1.25 seconds after reaching its target. What does this mean? It's a false dad boomerang, and it's going to hover back there and then return. The other part of that said dealing 75% damage on the return trip. Now, something I think is pretty cool about this is, let's say that you decide to go for a Q build. You're still going to be using your W's because they're on a pretty short cooldown, but you can do stuff like this where you send out your Q that way, detonate that one, and then blow up this one. So you may, again, if you can set up really early before a team fight, if you can get there and you can just like be, what's up? I'm good to go. Ready, I'm here. If you could do that, then you could potentially do some cool wombo combo stuff. And of course, there's nothing stopping you from trying to stack 2 of these up. Let's say a ETC just went in and landed a really good mosh pit, or Malfurion landed some really good roots. You could throw 2 of these charges down and blow them up and deal a lot of damage as well. So, I mean, there is some wombo combo abilities there. Let's see. We have Warp Resonance. Hit heroes with Warp Rift Explosions. Now, this is a quest talent at level 1, whereas the Echo Pulse is not. After hitting 10 heroes with Warp Rift Explosions, increase the explosion damage by 100. New sponsors, Swivel Pops. Thank you for sponsoring the channel. Enjoy your top out. After hitting 20 heroes with the... Whoa, you yelled at me! I know! I already heard it! Fuck! Turn you down. God damn! Yo, that was real loud on my end. I have this I have this mixer set up for my outbound volume, and I had my stream PC volume turned like all the way up in my headphones. I just yelled at I just scolded myself for something. Fuck. All right, where was I? So essentially, for this quest to progress, what you have to do is put this in place and then blow it up. And again, you're kind of counting on someone standing in this spot long enough for you to blow it up. Granted, it's really not that long of a delay, and once you get the timing down, you can actually blow up the Q. Oh, see, I fucked up. You can blow this up with your Q before this thing is fully formed. You know what I'm saying? So like, and here we go. So, I mean, the delay of this forming is going to be the main limiting factor in regards to dealing the damage. That being said, every time we land this combo, if I don't miss, and let's say we also hit the other guy, that is 500 damage at level 6, which is a lot. It's a lot. But let's see. And the second reward would be to give us, let's go ahead and complete all of the quests. We would have a 3rd charge of this. Now, even though we want to blow these up to deal damage, this is also a lot of zoning potential here. You have a 20% slow on each of these. I'm sorry, I'm real stuttery today. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. You have a 20% slow on each of these, and you can kind of build them back towards you. So say your team's retreating. This could be good. Say your team has a Rhaegar and they just use Bloodlust and you're trying to push into the enemy team. Maybe you can use your mounts and kind of move in behind the enemy team and set these up to keep them in place a little bit longer. Just an idea. I don't really know. And then the third option at level 1, gather minerals. Enemy heroes and minions drop minerals when killed. Collect them to increase the health of photon cannons by 8 up to 560. So if you're worried about your cannons dying, this is going to be a good way to give your cannons some more health. How much health do they have at the start? I guess they don't say, and I have no way of selecting this to tell you, but increasing its health by 560. After collecting 70 minerals, photon cannons deal 25% more damage and can see over obstacles and reveal enemy cloaked units. So I was actually not under the impression that they couldn't see over this before. Come here, you little... Yeah, there you go. So let's put this here and try to get our little archer to follow me. Maybe get Arthas to follow me. Oh yeah, minion wave. Yeah, minion wave, come with me. So you can see him here. Oh, you fucking useless shit! Yeah, so he can't see over trees. If you do this quest, he can see over trees. Look at that. Isn't that just magical? The range doesn't seem to get increased in any capacity, but if a stealth unit walks by this, you will draw them out of stealth. You will have vision of them. I wonder if it'd be more worth my time to like stack up 2 of these before I detonate them. I mean, as you can see, it's not a bad amount of damage. I would definitely see myself using this on a map like Infernal Shrines, where you can, you know how Sergeant Hammer and Chromie kind of hang out in these spots, like right here, next to the shrine. They'll be on the opposite side of this. I could definitely see Probius setting up like a pylon over here, and then a turret over here, to kind of poke at the enemy team while they're doing the shrine. Keep in mind, ridiculously short range on these, though. And the fact that you can only have 1 out of a time baseline pretty much limits... I don't know. I feel like it limits the ability quite a bit. Then at level 4, we do have Photon Barrier. While a cannon is active and powered, we're going to gain 30 spell armor. So spells just deal 30 less damage to us. Great. Or is it 30%? No, it's 30, right? I'm pretty sure it's 30. Let's see. Then we have Turbocharged. Worker Rush grants an additional 20% passive movement speed while in a power field, and its cooldown is reduced by 20 seconds. This is the one I like a lot. But I guess one thing we should show before we move on too far is what do the minerals look like for this level 1 talent here. They look just like StarCraft minerals. So let's put our little thing down. We'll have to wait for these minions to walk up. We'll put our slow field in the way. You see, they look like just like little crystals. We go pick them up, and then that progresses our quest. So for the next level, we have Turbocharge. That's the one I like the most. So our movement speed by default is 110. If we turbocharge and stand in an area that our pylon is in, we go up to 130. And it also takes 20 seconds off of our super fast charge move thing. So we can use this every 20 seconds rather than every 40 seconds by default. So, it's good. It's good is what I'm telling you. When you have to get to places early to set up, when you have to get there beforehand and be like, yo, I'm ready to go. I got all my shit down. Push in, team. Let's go. You're going to want to get there pretty quick. And characters like this that are limited by not having a mount, they need a way to get around pretty quick. I would imagine you would want Probius in a middle lane on most maps that have an objective that spawns around, like on Cursed Hollow, you probably want Probius in the middle lane just because it's the shortest distance to all the tributes. And you can kind of boost in there and set up while everyone else is rotating. Just thinking out loud. And then our last option for level 4 is Shield Capacitor. Probius gains a permanent shield equal to 10% of his maximum health, so this will scale throughout the course of the game. Shields regenerate quickly as long as Probius hasn't taken damage. So let's go ahead and reset. And we'll actually set our level to 20 for this one, so you can see what kind of value you get out of this as you start to hit the late game. We are probably gonna, level 1 talent doesn't matter. We have a 300 shield, 280 shield, just about. So 1.5 auto attacks, basically. Like whatever. Let's see how fast it regenerates. So let's boost out. It says it regenerates fast. Oh, we got a Malfurion cleanse there. Okay, it's back. But it grows. It doesn't just start out with that 200. Okay. Alright, well. That makes sense. I don't know. Not too crazy about that. I think I would rather have the movement speed. The movement speed seems a lot better. Okay. So, level 7, what do we have here? This is another talent tier where you get to pick whichever your favorite is. So we have Particle Accelerator. Disruption Pulse deals 10% more damage for each enemy or warp rift hit, up to 40%. Keep in mind this does not say enemy hero. So, quite simply, 40% more damage for every enemy object that this thing goes through, including minions. So as we get to the back line, that's hitting for 518 damage at level 20. And then with our Boomerang Town at level 1, this bad boy is going to come back to us. Is there a visual representation for the amount of power up this thing has? Anything like that? I don't think so. At least I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, team. So this is a good way of just increasing your lane clear. with a very, very short cooldown. 3 seconds. I mean, firing that in, boom, and then it comes back. Also, pretty good poke in the middle of a team fight, too, I would say. Reset talents. Let's take a look. This is Rift Shock. Hitting an enemy hero with Warp Rift Explosion increases Probius damage against them by 20% for 10 seconds. So it's like a vulnerability. That's interesting. It's like a vulnerability you apply to them, but only for Probius. And only when you detonate... Oh, that's a lot of damage. So what if we do it again? Wow. So 20% more damage from anything we do? That actually seems really good. That seems really good. Hitting an enemy hero with Warp Rift Explosion increases Probius damage against them by 20% for 10 seconds. Yeah, you could wombo combo some stuff with that. You could definitely wombo combo some stuff with that. That could be really good. I know I haven't shown you his heroic abilities yet, but there's some potential setups that would be really good. For sure. But the last talent in this tier... Oh, minions, you can come back. My bad. We have... Let's just go for all of our turret talents. When Photon Cannon damages an enemy hero, its cooldown is reduced by 1.25 seconds. I mean, that seems good. Until you realize that the cannon cannot be told who to fire at. So right now it's just shooting a minion. And you only get the cooldown reduction if this thing shoots a hero. Now, if you can find a situation where you're kind of fighting out in the open, and you're trying to use your cannon to deal a lot of damage, one thing I've noticed is that people will just kill it. People will just straight up kill it. So, I mean... If you're going to take this talent, you have to take the mineral talent to build up its health. But if you do take this talent, you can finally have more than one cannon out at a time. You can have more than one cannon out at a time. You might be able to have multiples, actually, because the cooldown reduction seems to stack. But again, the issue in this particular scenario is, why the fuck would someone sit here and let you hit them with 2 cannons long enough for you to have 3 cannons out? I don't think this one makes any sense. I don't think this one makes any sense at all. People will run away from this before they let you stack up this kind of crazy amount of damage. No one will sit here and let you do this. And if you're in the middle of a team fight, right? Let's say you're in the middle of a team fight. Team fights usually happen in a lane, by a minion wave or something, by a mercenary camp, by a boss, by a Zerg wave pushing on Brax's holdout. There's going to be distractions for your turrets to kind of get caught up in. And if they're not shooting heroes, then you're not getting any value from this. I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's very good at all. I think you get a shit ton more value out of Rift Shock or Particle Accelerator at that point. But, I mean, if they give him the ability later on down the road, like maybe it's in the later talents where you can direct this a little bit more. I'm pretty sure it's not. But then that might be good. At level 10, we do have Pylon Overcharge. Increases the size of your Pylon power fields and allows them to attack enemies within it for 251 damage per second. Lasts 10 seconds. Pylons gain permanent shields equal to 50% of their maximum health. So if you go for this, your Pylons become immediately more defensible. And then, again, you can power these up and they'll deal damage. So they're both doing 125 at a time. That's a pretty sizable amount of damage. And unlike the cannon, this is a really big range that you might actually be able to keep people in for the duration. It's only 10 seconds. So, if we want to use this adequately, we're going to want to... I mean, what I was thinking of while we were doing this was do we want this? Yeah, we want that. And then turbocharged, and then the damage, the vulnerability. So we want to do something like complete our quests. We want to have a pylon down. Again, we have to be holding this place for at least 14 seconds, right? You have to be here first if you want to get the full effect. If you want the full wombo combo, there's going to be some time and preparation going into that. Yo, Furion, go away. Furion, I'm trying to do something. Go Go back to base. You're gonna go back. Stop it. Let Arthas come to me. Hi, Arthas. So you put your cannon down, you put this down. Then we're gonna blow this up. And then turn on... Oh, I didn't turn on the damage. It was still on cooldown. I'm bad at this game. Still, though. The damage from the vulnerability and the cannon alone was actually pretty respectable. That's not bad at all. Go away, Arthas. Stop it. Okay, so when he comes back, I guess we can prime up some of these. Maybe they don't last long enough. Alright, when he gets here, we're gonna make him vulnerable. Oh, he went through the trees! Arthas! Oh my god, he flanked me so hard. And then we activate this thing and then we scurry on out of here. That's a pretty respectable amount of damage. For sure. But again, you gotta have time to set up your 2 pylons. You gotta make sure they approach you in the right way. Any normal player, once these things lit up, would have just run right the fuck out of here, right? Oh, those pylons are glowing and they're trying to shoot at me. What should I do? Run deeper into the pylons? No one's ever gonna do that. That's why I'm so confused about how you're actually supposed to play this character, because it seems like you only benefit when people just run into your stuff for no reason. His other heroic ability is, let's just pick some talents at random, Nullgate. Kindrel22, thank you for sponsoring the channel. Thank you. Enjoy your top hat. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, dude. He doesn't know what to do without you, Furion. You're gonna have to come back. He just doesn't know. He just doesn't know how to live his life without you. You gotta come back, Furion. So with this one, you're essentially laying down a force wall that doesn't block enemies, but slows them instead. Okay, Furion, come back though. I miss you. Where the fuck are you? Oh, I feel blind. There you are. Okay. So with this one, we actually need we need Arthas to run through it. So I can show you how it works. It has a 40-second cooldown. That's way longer than I thought. But 40-second cooldown. And essentially all it does is slow them a lot. So we can put that there. And then, oh, look how slow Arthas is. And if he stands at that, man, he sure is going to be slow. So it's like for when you're chasing down kills, I mean, you could probably use the boost talent that you got earlier on. Let's go ahead and toggle cooldowns. You know, as Arthas is trying to run away, we just put that down there. It does take time to form, as I just learned. So you gotta like get way in front of them. But when you do slow them down, man, they're stuck there. That could allow your team to do a lot. Could you imagine that with an Artanis swap or something? You don't even have to slow the guy that Artanis swaps. You could just slow the rest of the team as they're trying to get to the one he swapped with. That could be pretty respectable. And then on the sides of this, actually, you can set up these things to kind of force them through that or take this kind of damage. So that is a lot of zone control right there. Definitely a lot of zone control. So what's the official word on this? Project a barrier of negative energy in the target direction that lasts 4 seconds. Enemies who touch the barrier take 152 damage per second. Oh, it also does damage too. And are slowed by 80% as long as they remain in contact with it. So the damage is pretty inconsequential. You're not going to get very many opportunities like that where you can root someone on top of it, you know? And that, I don't think that's the intention of the ability anyway. So while it does have a pretty significant slow, people are going to be moving away from that pretty quick. So I don't really think you should think about it as far as a damage dealing ability. But as far as a team fight utility kind of thing, that seems pretty strong. And to me, it makes a lot more sense than having a heroic ability that relies on you sitting down pylons with a 14-second cooldown. You know? Then again, this pylon thing, this doesn't prioritize heroes either. So this could get distracted by a ton of stuff too. I don't know. Dude, maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe I'm not seeing the spark here, you know? Let's see. We'll go for the null gate. Then at level 13, this is where we get all of our Pylon talents. So I'll just go right down the list here. We don't have to spend too much time on these. Aggressive Matrix. Pylon's power field grants allied heroes 20% increased attack damage. This is pretty phenomenal on maps like Battlefield of Eternity, where you're going to be sitting there just wailing into an objective with your team and you want them to do as much damage as humanly possible. Boom. Here, have a Pylon. 10% more damage to your auto. Actually, 20% more damage to your auto attack. That's good. That's really good. Probably can't you do the null gate lengthwise? Yeah. But then it's still just like, okay, I'm out of it. All right, we're here. All right, I'm here now. Okay, I mean, it's like, it's a pixel wide no matter what you do. You know what I'm saying? So that's a just flat damage increase. Kind of reminds me of True Shot Aura for Tyrande. But you put that down, anything in your circle of influence will have 20% more attack damage. Seems pretty good. We also have Power Overflowing. Pylon's power field grants a allied heroes 10% increased spell power and 2 mana per second. So no longer is Malfurion the only one in the game that can return mana. Step aside, Malfurion. I don't know. Kind of doesn't seem as... I mean, it's okay. But let's see how effective it actually is. Here you go, Furion.
Here's a burrito. Hey, do you remember when I gave you my idea for this character and the SCVian drone to be added? Could they have listened? Oh.
I do remember people bringing up the idea for the character in the past. Thank you for the donation, by the way. And also thank you, new sponsor, Gus Gus. I think I pitched the SCV as well. Or it was at least on my list for some TGN video that we did. Hey! So this is clearly wanted by the community. I think I'm just a little confused by its implementation. Also, this power thing, I guess it's helping. It's not really fast. Then again, Furion is using abilities, so maybe we actually found a way to let Kai have mana when she plays fucking Malfurion. Wouldn't that be exciting? I don't know, not too impressed. That being said, it is worth mentioning that spell power would increase the healing amount as well for Malfurion, and any healer for that matter. So it also, I mean, not only is it an offensive buff, but it is a defensive buff as well. That's worth mentioning, I guess. I didn't think about it like that. But then the last talent in that tier, we have Shield Battery. Pylon's power field grants ally heroes 74 shields per second, up to 296 shields. Persists for 4 seconds after exiting Pylon's power field. God, these tongue twisters. So, yeah, you get a shield. And we should assume... Let's set our level back down to 20. We should assume that the shield from that will stack with the shield that we could get earlier in the talent tree as well. So if we wanted to go like super tanky for whatever reason. So we have 3,000 shields here, and yeah. So you could probably get in the neighborhood of 500 shields. It's about right. 540 shields. That's not bad. But it's only when you're in your area. Again, can't stress that enough. But this is for your team too. I mean, it's not that bad. I feel like the other two are just a little bit better. They help you secure kills a little bit more. I mean, Thrall's Earthquake has a shield talent that no one ever takes. But that could also be because you need Bolt of the Storm to be super aggressive on Thrall, and that's not really... It's not really Probius' role. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like on any map where you're pushing an objective, the attack damage is going to be better, especially the way people build teams today with like 4 auto attackers and a support. I think this would go a really long way. And the mana return is decent, I guess. I don't think it's gonna be something where like you're like, oh, thanks, Proby. I'm all of a sudden rejuvenated beyond my wildest means. You're the fountain of youth, Probius. Thank you. I don't think it's gonna be anything like that. But... And then the last talent tier 16. Before we get to our storm talents, this is all based on your W ability. So maybe it's worth getting those stacking talents early on. We have Quantum Entanglement. Enemies continue to be slowed for 3.5 seconds after last contact with Warp Rift. That one immediately seems very good. That's a 20% slow, correct? That's a 20% slow. Where they don't even have to be in range of it anymore for that slow to affect them. Of course, Arthas has that relentless stuff. That one seems really good right out of the gate. And you can have like 4 charges of this. So all of a sudden you can have like an earthquake field around you. I like that. I like that one a lot. I like that one a lot. Gravity Well. Enemies are slowed more the closer they are to the center of the Warp Rift, up to a maximum of 60%. Now, my very first impression of this particular one was that it was going to be really good. Because if they go towards the center, there is a small visual representation, maybe? Not really. If they go closer to the center, then it becomes easier to detonate on top of them, right? They'll stay in that a little bit longer. But again, you kind of have to go with the mentality that everyone's going to be trying to get the fuck right out of this thing as soon as you spawn it. So the idea of someone walking directly through the center of it, probably not going to happen too much. It's going to come down to your placement of these things more than anything else. To the point where I don't think a slow in the middle is going to help your odds of detonating this on someone. I feel like you're either going to be good enough to do it or the slow won't help you. That's my impression anyway. From the one game that I played. Then we have Repulsor. Enemies hit by Warp Rift explosions are knocked away from the center. This one seems more irritating than anything else, although this could be used to peel quite a bit. I'm afraid that it's just going to cause a little bit of a haymaker syndrome, where you're like, God, you just made me miss all of my skill shots, you stupid shit! What are you doing? But it is a knockback, and it can allow you to peel. So it does have its uses. Again, a higher skill cap than the other 2 options we've gone over so far, because you could inevitably push someone closer into your hero, or into your allies, where the point of the ability is to try to keep them at back, keep them at bay.
Wanna hear an old car? VVVV, VV, VVVVVV, VVVVVVVV, for room.
That was an old vehicle. Thank you for the donation. So, maybe once people get really used to the character, maybe this will make a little bit more sense. I don't know. It's alright. I'm kind of mediocre on it. Kind of lukewarm. And then we have Interference. Enemies hit with the warp detonations have their spell power reduced by 35% for 3 seconds. Only good against teams what I would say 2 or more mages, which in today's meta doesn't happen very often. Although if you do, I mean, you don't have a knockback. So let's say you see a Nazebo setting up for the Vengeful Spirit. There you go. All of a sudden he's dealing less damage, and he's not going to be moving either. Maybe that would be the reason you picked that up. I don't really know. The best one to me definitely seems to be the slow lingering. You can do a lot of zoning with that. And with the right build, you can have up to 4 of those circles out at a time. I kind of like that. Then at level 20, we have Construct Additional Pylons. Probius can now have up to 3 pylons active, and it increases the damage of Pylon Overcharge by 25%. So Pylon Overcharge, again, is the one where our pylons get bigger and then they shoot stuff. It went from doing 150 damage to 169 damage, just to paint you a little bit more of a picture. It's not that big of an increase. Again, yes, we can have more pylons out, but this doesn't solve the problem of the pylons having a 14-second cooldown. So, honestly, I think this talent's pretty garbage. Maybe purely off of the support options here, maybe it would be good. But it's like, when are you going to be in a situation where you have over 30 seconds to set up? I just don't see it happening. Unless you're split pushing a lane, which if that's what you're doing, you're probably gonna die, because that doesn't seem to be the intent of the character at all. I just don't see it happening. But again, I mean, if you can set these things up, and you can really wombo combo someone down. So, I mean, they'll have that purpose. I could see someone just sitting in a bush for like 20 minutes waiting for this to happen. You know? I can see someone doing that. And when you do have 3 of them, it is a lot of damage. I'll give you that too. It's a lot of damage. Just don't, I don't know. The other options at level 20. Oh yeah, just clicking on everything. We have Shoot 'em Up. This is based off of your Q ability. Hitting a Warp Rift with Disruption Pulse causes 4 additional pulses that deal 50% damage. Oh my god. To be fired from the impact location in different directions. What a great description there. What does that mean? Well, we shoot out our Q, and then our Q blows up. Now, one thing I find very interesting about this is it appears that you can shotgun enemies.
Do the Pylon effects at level 13 stack? For example, if your team stands in all the Pylon grids.
That's a good question. Let me explain this first, and then we'll go back. So, what I find interesting about this is you can shotgun enemy heroes. That damage. Tantalus Gaming, thank you for sponsoring the channel. You can fucking shotgun enemy hero. Look at, hey! He took all of that.
Thank you.
He took every projectile there. We just hit someone for 1400 damage. What I also find interesting is how you can stack up multiples of these and continue to shotgun damage. Now, the shotgun effect has not been something we've seen in this game since it was removed from Diablo, with his waves going out and then returning back to him. This used to be how Diablo could combo someone down in a moment's notice. You would hit your W here, charge in, flip him over you, and then all these fire waves that started here would come back into your hero and would hit for like 2,000 damage. Well, now you can do that with Probius again. That is back in the game. It is a mechanic that they have re-added, which I find horribly fascinating because they hated it on Diablo, but now all of a sudden it's okay. Now, it does require extremely proper positioning with this. You do have to land it right in the middle in order to hit all the orbs. But let's say if you have someone in a mosh pit or in roots when they can't move, you can effectively do 2,000 damage with just this one talent. Just this one talent. You don't even need, look, I don't even have the other Q talents. Can we look down here? Screens, we zoom in down here. I don't even have the other Q talents. That's only one Q talent. We do have the vulnerability at 7. But it seems ridiculous. Seems ridiculous. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Pylon effects do not stack. But like I said, I will test that for you. So just to make it easy, we won't take any shield talents. We could do that. We'll do the shield talent so we could see. And then additional pylons. So 1 pylon gives us, slowly but surely, oh my god, this makes me hate this talent even more. Look how slow it stacks up. So we have 3,274 maximum health right now with the shields. And I'm just going to assume it doesn't stack up anymore. Nope. Now, the effect might happen a little bit quicker if we can take some damage. So we might actually get those shields back faster because there's 3 sources of the application, maybe? No, that looks the same too. Yep, doesn't stack. Doesn't stack. So what do we have? What do we have? We have Probius Loop. Whenever a rift explosion hits 2 or more enemies, heroes, create a new warp at the target location. Okay. So this could be good. Kind of hard to test this. Select enemy hero. Sorry Vikings. I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to. So let's make sure our cooldowns are normal. So running that. So it just spawns another one. This could be really strong. Oh, I'm out of mana. I was like, why can't I cast? I don't understand. That could be really strong. Because you could get way more of these out than you would have been able to before. But again, that radius is not very large. I don't think catching 2 people in these is super reasonable. Like, to do over the course of a whole match, you know what I mean? Like, it'll happen. It'll definitely happen, and you'll get free things that'll continue to slow them, and I'm assuming these would go off of the slow talents if we picked those up earlier and stuff. So, I mean, these could definitely get value, but would they get as much value as shotgunning someone down all the time with shoot 'em up? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So what do I think? We've looked at all the talents except for Gatekeeper. We should probably look at Gatekeeper real quick. Oh, fuck. I went too fast. I flew too close. So, Null Gate lasts indefinitely. Oh, okay. If either end is within a power field. Only one Null Gate may be active at a time. That seems so gimmicky. Okay. So, like, if we put this down here, and then we put this on them, they're just gonna... Yeah, Olaf, run through it that way for me, please. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, don't get out of that. Don't change your target direction at all. So, let's be clear on how Olaf could have countered this just perfect placement of my heroic ability. Instead of just continuing to move towards the end here, I could have just done this, and then he would have been fine. I mean... So if I move my pylons away, it goes away immediately. So can I cast this and then pylon it up? Oh, see, I missed. And then pylon it up. So I mean, that's some pretty good zone control. You would kind of place it down and then put a pylon in, like, way after. Put it way back there. He's killing my pylon. I could see that being alright. Is that better than shotgunning someone for 2,000 damage? I don't think so. Oh, I have 2 of these because the cooldown thing. My bad. There we go. That's a little bit more accurate there. Yeah, I don't know, man. See, look how long it... I mean, don't get me wrong. A team could definitely do a lot of damage with that, but look how long they're actually slowed. 1, 2, and then they're out. So you get a 2-second slow. Best case scenario, right? Someone just passing through this, you get a 2-second slow. I don't see this being any different at all from Chromie's Sand Circle. And the thing about Chromie's Sand Circle is it's a fucking circle, right? There's more ways to catch people in it. It's a lot wider than a straight line with a 40-second cooldown. I don't think that's very good. I don't think that's very good at all. Yeah, like I said, I'm really torn on this character. Like, all of his stuff on the surface seems cool, but in actual implementation, I'm trying to find ways that I think they would work reliably, and it's just so difficult to do. So, what I would recommend, I think, is something that looks a little bit like this. I think it would look a little bit like this. So let's go ahead and reset these forts. Let's get everybody in here. So what I went for is Echo Pulse. So we have a boomerang and it comes back to us. I went for the movement speed increase so we can get around the map a little bit more often because we're going to need to get to places before the enemy team to put up our pylons. I did go for the vulnerability here so we can do stuff like that. Yeah, that's just quality entertainment right there. Oh, I didn't even think about that interaction. So with the boomerang effect, we can drop our Q, drop our W, fire off our Q immediately. We don't have to wait for the pulse, and then it blows up on the way back. That's pretty cool. Then Pylon overcharge, so I guess we want to set a couple of these up. I did go for the improved spell power because I'm assuming that's going to affect me as well and increase our shotgun damage at level 20. Then I wanted the slow to linger a little bit because that seems good. And that's the combo. I mean, it doesn't seem that bad. Doesn't seem that bad. Let's give us a real enemy hero to go against. Let's go versus a Gazlo. Someone who's likely to be standing around in all of our stuff. The obvious comparison when you start talking about building turrets and defenses in a spot, right? Select ally hero. Go away. Thank you. Hi, Gazlo. Yes, please. Stand right there. Yeah, team, I think this is the build. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
With Valve's approval, Space Core skin from Portal for Probius. You thoughts on it?
What was the main guy in Portal 2? The antagonist. It's been so long since I played it. The guy who like went to the moon. Got all angry. I think it started with a W. I don't remember his name. I would love a Probius skin for that guy. Waitley. You guys are on it. You guys are on it. That'd be pretty cool. So essentially, with this build, what we're doing is we have the boomerang that comes back to us. We have the movement speed increase. We have the vulnerability on our W. Remember, we can lay down like 2 of these, maybe 3 of these before these detonate, so we can have a nice little area of protection. And then as these guys walk in, get out of here! Start just blowing them up like crazy. Oh, I didn't know that either! Oh, I didn't know that either, look! Okay, we're gonna toggle off cooldowns here for a second, team. So look at that. Because of our level 20 talent, these things kind of shatter and go in all directions. You can actually detonate multiples of these. That's dope! I didn't know that. Hold on, do they all shoot out projectiles? That's worth testing. So like, just line these up.
So, you were saying earlier about the quick movement and setup time being important. Maybe the Pylon ULT for maps like Cursed Hollow or Towers of Doom, where you often fight away from lanes and have bushes to hide your pylons, turrets. Still, 14 to 30 secs though.
Here's what I'm saying. There are opportunities where I think the cannon thing could work and you could get some meaningful cooldown reduction. There's just so much setup time required. And why would you waste all that time setting up when you could just shotgun Gazlo for all of his fucking health? You know? Anyway, the spell power, I'm pretty sure, increases our spell power. We wanted the slow to linger on this. I do think the knockback has its purpose. I think all of these actually have their purpose. Maybe I was a little too critical of these. Fight me. Fight me, though. Come on. Come on. Yeah, go to the tower. Yeah, okay. So I found the fun on this character. It just took me, how long have I been streaming? Just took me an hour. I found it. So I'm pretty sure this is the build I would recommend. You can do whatever you want at 16. You can really do whatever you want at 13 as well. I think setting up the attack damage for your team on like killing immortals and stuff would be pretty valuable. But I think this is it, team. I think we got it. So this is what I would recommend if you're looking to jump into a quick match when Probius comes out. We can officially dub it the PallyTime shotgun build, right? Because I made it. I'm the first one to do it. PallyTime shotgun. He's only been live an hour or something. PallyTime shotgun build. I'm calling it right now. Does the wall ult damage structures? That's a good question. Let's see. Yes. On a 45-second cooldown, you too can deal 1/5 of a tower's damage at level 20. It's totally not worth. Totally not worth. Can you do the boomerang and the one that spawns another warp when multiple enemies are in it? Yeah, that should work. Where the fuck was that? Yeah, that's level 20. Yeah, you could do that. We gotta bring out our Vikings to test that again. I want that one. That one. That one. That one. And then this one. Okay. But again, you'd be missing out on the shotgun here. Select enemy hero. The Lost Vikings. Come on out, pals! What about an infinite slow wall dealing damage to a core? Wouldn't the pylons be in range of the core though? The fuck? What the fuck? They juked me so hard! What the hell? So it goes out and then... Oh, that's pretty good too. That's pretty good too. That's pretty good too. I like that one. I do like that one. Yo, stop. Stop it. You're throwing your life away. So, I mean, as far as like the siege thing. Oh, fuck. So we would want probably shields. I guess it doesn't matter. So you would have to like... Oh shit. No, let me get back there. Let me get back there. Come on. Okay. So Pylon would have to go here. And then you just wait. And then you just wait. Your core's gonna die. Dude, how funny it would be if the cores actually heal faster than you can deal damage to this thing. Hold on, can we cannon it? The cannons can't even hit it! What fucking useless ability. So shit. Why do I think they made a cannon not prioritize heroes? I have no clue. It's not like Gazlo's cannons where you can have 1,000 of them down either. It's like you're gonna have one of these down at a time. Maybe two if you get lucky with auto attacks. I don't understand why you can't tell them at least what to attack. Like, these won't even target a boss if there's minions by the boss, you know? It's completely a crapshoot. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Core doesn't regen shields while taking damage? I didn't know that. It makes sense, though. Anyway, thus concludes my really long, boring, drawn-out look at Probius. Hashtag Pallytime Shotgun Build 2016. I'm fully aware that it's 2017 now, but let's try to make it appear like I was way ahead of the game. You know what I mean? If you want to see me play Probius tomorrow, we are going to be doing a squadron stream featuring him, and I'll try to get a video out on my channel too. But I think we're going to do a Heroes Unite with Probius, Moon and I, tomorrow on the squadron channel. So if you guys want to stop by, I think the calendar's down in the video description. You should be able to see that, and of course a link to the channel probably down there too. That's going to be it for me today, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all tomorrow.